Let's talk to head of campaigns at Popular Conservatism, Andrew Allison. Thanks for joining me, Andrew.
Good evening, Kevin.
Now, I mean, you know, I've just laid out why, of course, this is wrong. This is sinister, as the Daily Telegraph said, Kafkaesque. What surprises me about this, there are lots for us to discuss here, but what surprises me about this is they knew whose door they were knocking on. They knew who Allison Pearson was, one of the most prominent, well-known newspaper columnists in the country. So when they knocked on her door and said, "You be careful of your tweets," by the way, we're not telling you what the tweet was, it means that they knew it would get publicised. Blared today all over the front page of the Telegraph. So they must have been proud of this. So the Chief Constable of Essex, by extension, is proud of sending his officers to knock on a national newspaper journalist's door on Remembrance Sunday morning to warn her about her tweets. That's what worries me. I think the police should be ashamed of this. They should be apologising for it. Instead, they want to showcase it. This is really worrying.
Of course they should be ashamed of themselves. And I sent a message to Alison this morning, a private message, and said, "I'm horrified for you. It must have been a horrible experience, you know, to be having the police officers knock on your door 20 to 10 on a Sunday morning. I mean, Remembrance Sunday, as you said, as well. But I'm not surprised by it. I'm not surprised in the least. Now, as you said, they must have known who she was. I can't believe that they've looked and say it's Allison Pearson, and they've looked at the tweets and they realise exactly who she is. She doesn't hide who she is or anything like that, so they must have known. So all I can think of is that this has got to be politically motivated in some way or another. Now, is it politically motivated inside the police? Is there someone inside the police who thinks, actually, we need to go after her, we need to make an example of Allison Pearson, and then if we do that, we'll clear up with a lot of other people? I don't know, Kevin, but it's very, very strange, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And to her credit, I mean, Allison Pearson, you take on Allison Pearson at your peril. So they've picked on the wrong victim here, I'll tell you that. She's already called on the services of Toby Young's Free Speech Union to demand that the police tell Allison what this offending tweet is. It's outrageous that they should just say, "Excuse me, you posted this tweet a year ago and that could be a hate crime. It's certainly a non-crime hate incident." Allison, natural question, well, what was the tweet? We can't tell you that. I mean, come on. So Toby and the Free Speech Union will demand that they disclose what the offending tweet is. And I heard Toby has revealed, I heard him on Julia Hartley-Brewer's show this morning. He said that since non-crime hate incidents were created, of course, under that well-known, defender of free speech, left-wing David Cameron, the Tory Prime Minister at the time, the police have recorded, listen to this, more than 250,000, more than 250,000. That adds up to about 65 a day. 65 every day. And this is the police force around the country. We haven't got enough officers. We're starved of resources and money. And how do you expect us to investigate proper crime when we haven't got the manpower? Well, here's an idea. Stop recording 65 non-crime hate incidents a day and stop wasting coppers' time, our money, sending them around to warn people about tweets. Outrageous.
Of course it's outrageous. Completely agree with everything that you said. And the idea that the police can just knock on your door, accuse you of something and say, well, what is it? Oh, well, we can't tell you what it is. And well, who's made the complaint? Who's the complainant? Oh, well, we can't tell you that either. But they're not a complainant, they're a victim. So we've got some person who's taken offence at what she's written a year ago. We don't know what it was that she wrote that has caused offence. We can't find, or she can't find out who the person is who's complaining against her. As you said, this could now escalate into something much worse. But, you know, you were interviewing Sharon Davies earlier and you spoke about this 17-year-old girl, autistic, Yeah, who's been banned for 6 games because she looked across and saw a bloke with a beard who was identifying as a woman, but obviously with a bloke with a beard, and said, "Are you a man?" Yeah. But the thing is, if you take this further, somebody could then take offence on behalf of that person, because it doesn't require the person who she directed it at. Someone could just take offence on behalf of him and say it was a transphobic comment that was made. Yeah. I could then report her for a hate incident. Yeah. And that is where we've got.
And they're recording non-crime hate incidents. So, you know, if I sort of see someone, I don't know, shout something racist at someone, you know, I know that this is the system. Is that the police saying, yeah, I've just seen somebody, you know, call someone a racist. Where did this happen? Oh, it happened on, you know, Acacia Avenue. La, la, la. What's your name? Oh, I'd rather not give my name. Oh, that's okay. And they write it down. That becomes a non-crime hate incident, and you think, why? Now, if you remember back to the good old days, or should I say maybe the bad old days, I don't know, when Suella Braverman was Home Secretary, she ordered police chiefs to stop this pointless process, this sinister pointless process, and they disobeyed her. They believe they've got some sort of sacred mission that they're in charge of to record people who perhaps have not adhered to the woke ideology that they feel that they ought to enforce. This is just out of control.
Well, Toby, I read this in Allison Pearson's article for the Telegraph this morning. It said that the idea behind a non-crime hate incident is to warn someone that you may have not have committed a crime at the moment, but if you continue like this, you may commit a crime in the future, as if it's some sort of like crime prevention exercise, as if they're trying to keep you on the straight and narrow, which of course it really isn't. And yeah, I mean, the idea that the police get involved in a non-crime, I mean, sure, the clue is in the title there, Kevin. It is a non-crime. Therefore, the police do not get involved in non-crimes. This is just simply policing free speech. It's saying what you can and what you cannot say. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you're a Jewish person, particularly in London, you can have all sorts of abuse thrown at you. You know, real nasty threats and rape threats and all sorts of horrible, nasty stuff. And yet the police seem to do very, very little about that. Yeah, very little.
I've seen it. I've seen it a lot, Andrew, because I took the trouble to attend a few of these. I mean, as an observer, obviously, as a kind of vague journalist. I used to be a journalist. Probably still am, just about. But I went down to watch these marches, these pro-Palestine marches. And, you know, the law is broken on a serial basis in terms of, you know, the support of prescribed terrorist groups, you know, threatening to kill the jihad, you know, from the river to the sea, free Palestine and all that. And the cops just stand and watch. So certain members of the community, of our British community, proceed with impunity. They don't get non-crime hate incidents. They don't get hate crimes. But if you have a go at the Palestine mob, if you have a go at Muslims or Islam, I mean, they're down on you like a ton of bricks. So two-tier policing, Andrew.
Well, exactly. That is the problem, and it is two-tier policing. And if you also notice, Kevin, that it's always people from the right who seem to get their collar felt on this. It's never anybody from the left, is it?
Yeah. You'll notice, Andrew, that it was a columnist from the Daily Telegraph who got the
well-known Labour-supporting newspaper.
And not from the Morning Star or the Daily Mirror or the Guardian, come to think of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And this is the thing. It's always directed at people from the right. But I mean, you know, Toby Young does some absolutely fantastic work. I'm a member of the Free Speech Union, and I know that if anything like that happens to me, then I'm covered. But I also know, because of my job and working in the media, that I can raise awareness of this. Maybe not to the same extent that Alison can, but I could come on your show and come on other shows on various channels and actually say this has happened to me. But what it happens to Joe Bloggs down the street, who actually might be terrified that the police are going to come back, arrest him, that he's going to go in front of a magistrate, he's going to end up in prison, absolutely terrified.
Yeah, and
what about those people? And that's the people I'm concerned about.
I'm calling on the Chief Constable of Essex, and I know Toby Young is too, and I'm sure you'll join the throng.
Yeah.
I want an explanation for this. I want to know why
And
they
it has
did
to
this.
happen. It has to happen tomorrow now.
Yeah.
It has to happen tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's sinister, and as the Telegraph said, Kafkaesque. And, you know, they are policing free speech. They are policing free speech. And the last point to make is that Allison does think it probably was a tweet about Hamas in which perhaps she had the temerity to condemn them and to not be, you know, maybe to be on Israel's side. And of course, as we know, the pro-Palestine police feel that pro-Israel sentiments should not be legal.
Well, exactly. And that is pretty obvious by the way that all of this is policed throughout the country, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen them in action, and I've said it before. I think the Met Police, I think various other police forces, they're pro-Palestine. It's as simple as that. They don't like Israelis. So we have a number of problems here that need to be addressed. But I agree, or we agree, Andrew, and Toby will as well. If you're watching, Chief Constable of Essex, an explanation, and an explanation fast. Andrew, great to talk to you as always. Thank you very much. Andrew Allison there, Head of Campaigns at Popular Conservatism.